On Wednesday, the Teamsters Union, which represents over 1 million workers, declined to make a presidential endorsement. Now, this is after they released internal polling showing, allegedly, that a majority of its members supported former President Donald Trump over Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, that right there makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. As a former union member myself, you look at Donald Trump's record versus the Biden-Harris administration, and you're like, how could any working person support Donald Trump? But according to an electronic member poll, about 60% of members believe the union should endorse Trump, while 34% supported Harris. This is a result that, of course, that Trump had immediately touted, saying, it's a great honor. They're not going to endorse the Democrats. That's a big thing. Democrats automatically have the Teamsters. They took a vote, and I guess I was at 60% or more, and that's a great honor. That's right. It's a great honor to get the people that I worked tirelessly to crush when I was in power. Yeah, weird. Now look, what do I mean by that? During Trump's term, the NLRB members he appointed made it more difficult for unions to win representation at non-union workplaces. Okay, the Trump Supreme Court, which with Justice Neil Gorsuch providing the deciding fifth vote, actually made it easier for the government employees nationwide to not pay union dues, even if their workplace is unionized. He allowed companies to rip off tip workers by implementing a proposal that resulted in servers doing more non-tip work and at a lower rate. There was even a proposal to try to allow for employers to steal employees' tips. Yes. And he goes around talking about, oh, yeah, we should not tax the tips. Oh, well, okay. Well, that's going to help the employers then who will steal those tips and not have to pay taxes on them. So that's what that whole policy is about. He also removed the Department of Labor's overtime rules, which blocked millions of workers from actually receiving a full paycheck, even though these workers worked. They were not getting paid for their work. That's wage theft. He oversaw a rise in outsourcing, including the highest rate of outsourcing by federal contractors in a decade, among many other things. Okay, but more importantly, he promised to protect union jobs and didn't even deliver there. Trump had promised, for example, that he would stop GM from closing the massive assembly plant in Lordstown, Ohio. 2 years later, this was in 2017, in 2019, guess what they did? They closed up shop and moved to Mexico. Remember Carrier, Michigan, okay? So this is in Indiana, actually. Trump had announced a deal with Carrier to keep some of the manufacturing jobs in the state of Indiana, while others would still move to Mexico in exchange for about $7 million worth of tax credits that this giant corporation didn't need. You know what happened? That it didn't stop the jobs from leaving. No, in fact, in Indiana alone, more than 20 manufacturers ended up moving production to foreign countries since Trump took office, resulting in at least 3,000 job losses, according to trade adjustment assistant filings with the Labor Department. That's about 4 times as many jobs as Trump had saved at Carrier. Now, of those jobs that are still there, in 2020, they caught up with them, okay? Now, it's about 800 workers, right, which were saved by Donald Trump. What working conditions are they in? Well, back then, they were working 8 to 10-hour shifts, 7 days a week, without having a single day off in more than a month. One worker had told the Indy Star at the time, quote, "We're tired and we're exhausted. They're not treating us right." So Trump gives this company a massive amount of subsidies. That's what that is. That's just corporate giveaways, right? To not leave. And so this company's like, okay, we'll stay, but we're going to massively mistreat our workers. Wow. There you go. Okay. Now, as far as Michigan, they lost 1,900 auto manufacturing jobs, or 4% of the total, between February of 2017, just after Trump took office, in February of 2020, just before the start of the pandemic, according to figures from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And so Michigan lost jobs, Indiana lost jobs. But no, I'm going to protect the jobs by just giving the bosses, the big corporations, everything they want, massive amounts of money. We're going to throw tons of money at them. Oh, did they still leave anyway? Oh, well, there you go. Look, how can you be a union member and vote for Donald Trump? That's my question. That makes me question, right? What was the polling methodology in this? All right? I don't know. Again, this would be like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Look, I know Democrats haven't been stellar on labor issues. They could be a lot better. They absolutely could be a lot better. That said, are they better than Republicans? That's not even a question. That's not even a question at all. There's a reason why people like, that the head of the UAW, for example, Sean Fain, endorsed Kamala Harris. Why over 40 almost 40 unions endorsed Harris, as opposed to just this one, the Teamsters, not endorsing anyone. He didn't even endorse Donald Trump. They just didn't endorse anyone. Okay. No, Sean O'Brien, I believe this guy, he's got to be on the take. Okay. He's got to have been promised something. All right. This guy was at the RNC. Okay. Talking about, oh, yeah, dude, no, we got to, Trump is for labor, Republicans for labor. Are you kidding me? No, Republicans aren't for labor. No, they're for people doing more labor and getting paid less for it, but they're not for labor. No. That said, the national organization refused to endorse. Okay. However, we're seeing a bit of a schism here because it turns out you had some state organizations that had a completely different plan. In fact, the Michigan Teamsters president, Kevin Moore, and the executive board, on behalf of 245,000 active and retired Teamsters, enthusiastically endorsed the Harris-Walz campaign. According to a statement posted to Facebook from the Michigan Teamsters Joint Council number 43. He said, "We strongly support their continued commitment to the issues that matter most to working families and our nation's middle class. Both Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz have consistently demonstrated their dedication to championing the labor movement, safeguarding Social Security, and ensuring access to quality health care for all Americans, including women's reproductive rights." Yes, turns out reproductive rights are also a workers' issue because women work. So, yeah. Now, there's more. Joint councils representing more than 500,000 Teamsters in Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin all announced their endorsement of Harris on Wednesday, joining with the Teamsters Black Caucus and Teamsters retirees. More than a dozen Teamsters Locals, including the Local 237, largest in the country, have all thrown their support behind Vice President Harris. Gregory Floyd, president of Local 237, said in an interview, quote, "Our members want me to endorse Kamala Harris for president of the United States." Floyd also said, "I'm certain that if the Teamsters really focused on what was done for them, they would understand that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden are for the working people. The Republicans had an opportunity to do it, and they didn't do it." And on the issue of protecting union pensions, Floyd said, President Biden came up aces, former President Donald Trump came up zero. Now, there's more. Teamsters Joint Council 39, President Bill Carroll, representing all of Wisconsin, said this, quote, "As Vice President, the most pro-union administration ever, Kamala Harris worked with the Teamsters and other union members to pass the historic Butch-Lewis Act, which has saved the pensions of over 1 million retirees to date. As President, Kamala Harris will build on those efforts and work with Congress to pass the PRO Act," something that J.D. Vance had missed, "ending some of the most egregious union-busting tactics once and for all." Other unions that got behind the vice president's bid, including the Teamsters Joint Council 42. According to their website, it represents 23 Teamsters union locals located in Southern California, Southern Nevada, Guam, Saipan, and Hawaii. So, I don't know, it's looking like there's a bit of an open rebellion here among the Teamsters. You've got the union bosses, in this case, Sean O'Brien, saying, "Oh, yeah, no, we're not going to endorse anybody. And because if we did, we'd be for Trump." Even though Trump has a disastrously terrible union record, okay, horrific record on labor. And look, he was caught, interviewing with Elon Musk, all right, laughing at like, "Oh, you know what we should do? If your workers start to unionize, you should fire them all." Well, there you go. That's how Donald Trump feels about labor. All right. That's how he really feels about labor. Look, the Teamsters, again, is pretty much the only national union that has not gone for Harris. Nearly 40 organizations now officially back her. The United Auto Workers, the AFL-CIO, the American Federation of Teachers, the National Education Association, the United Steelworkers. They've all pledged their support for Kamala Harris, and it's because Donald Trump despises organized labor, he despises working people, and represents the heads of the big corporations, which makes me wonder, what did they give you, Sean? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.